we'll go fast.
Yep.
All right. I'm Andrew Howell.
And I'm Raven Wilson.
And today we're going to talk about the unethical PR of Trillium Farms.
Switch it up a little bit. Okay, first, do you need to watch the video?
Okay, so to save time, we'll go ahead and we'll give you a little mental picture. Imagine walking through a barn filled with Christmas lights, lots of color, chickens running around that you can pet, all this fun stuff. There you go.
You guys see that?
I see
it. But what actually happens at Trillium Farms, which is the company that we're talking about, is the chickens are in harsh conditions. There's feces everywhere, there's dead chickens lying on the floor, the feathers are falling off of them, all the horrible things you can think of are happening. So this is actually the mission statement that they have for the company. And if you read it a little bit while I kind of talk about it, mostly the whole thing just says they have outstanding care for their chickens, their diet is good, they produce wholesome eggs, they have high regards for the environment as a company, they're good neighbors to all the people that live around them, because it's in Ohio, it's just like in a farm. And
so Raven's going to talk a little bit about the background real fast.
And I would like to introduce you to the founder. His name is Anton Pullum. He's a German national, and he became known for his unsanitary and his inhumanity to chickens. So according to farmersblog.usa.org, he first started out with the company Buckeye Farm in 1980, and 3 years later he was sued for manure spills, which affected nearly thousands of residents nearby, and he received numerous complaints of violations from the state. So after that incident, he then switched the name to Ohio Fresh Eggs in 2011. He received 57 warnings and notices from the state, and he refused to obey terms of lawsuit. So they then sent him back to Germany. They revoked his license so he could never own animals again. So under new management, according to TrilliumFarms.com, it began in 2013. It became the leading egg producer. And they have many locations throughout Ohio. They have their own feed mills and truck operations to safely assist the chickens and manage what they consume. And their main focus is to provide outstanding care for the chickens so they can produce the highest quality of product for their consumers. And now I'd like to introduce Andrew Howell, who will talk more about the incidents that happened within the company.
All right, so originally when we took this project, it was supposed to be how they were treating animals unethically. We dug a little bit, and holy moly, there is so much more. So bear with me, I'll go through this as fast as I can. One of the things they're really well known for in their scandals is lagoons filled with feces, waste, other disgusting things that would leak and contaminate water supplies for local towns and cities. So to build that, according to MercyForAnimals.org, in 2009, they were fined $300,000 again for clean water violations. So taking it back, in 2004, the same organization, Mercy for Animals, sent a reporter undercover. There they found atrocities committed to a bunch of animals, so like chickens. Beaks were singed off, pulled off, feathers plucked, chickens covered in blood, often no food and water for the chickens. The corpses were left in the pens with the chickens for weeks at a time, obviously a breeding ground for germs and other disgusting things to happen. In 2007, they were faced with a different animal, sexual assault lawsuit from 2 of their former employees. They came forward and said the supervisor was physically and verbally harassing them about how he'd give them better working conditions, more pay if he moved in with them. Obviously, they said no, turned him into the company, and a couple weeks later, they went from production line to clean bathrooms in the chicken coops, and then they were fired a couple weeks after that. 2010, according to Mercy for Animals, they had to recall 250,000 eggs for salmonella poisoning. But, you know, honestly, all of that is minuscule compared to what Columbus Dispatch reported in 2015 when they found a slave ring going on at these farms. 8 children, 2 men, working 12-hour days, little to no pay, cleaning the chicken coops, vaccinating them, plucking their feathers, all this stuff. They were threatened with their lives if they didn't work while hurt, or threatened with their families' lives. So one person was told that their mother's hand would be cut off if they didn't keep working. They were kept in shacks with no food, water, electricity, lived on the ground. But what's even more astonishing about this is no legal action was taken, because according to Washington Post, The owners said that they came out and were unaware that this was happening on their farm. Without further ado, as if we needed to go in, here's Kayla with some ethical problems in all of that.
So, like we mentioned before, the case study that we originally came with was just because they changed their name 3 different times in order to like avoid government policies and fines and everything else, because they shut down 3 different times. But they came back up with a new, until the 3rd time, came back up with a new owner. So the first 2 owners were the original owner until he got sent back to Germany and wasn't allowed to have animals anymore. And then the 3rd owner is the current one now. But the point of this is 13% of the government's money was coming from farms, factory farms. And one of the factory farms that is the biggest is Trillium Farms. Like Raven said, there was 57 warnings and notices from the state overall and the whole company, and the company started in like 1985, I think.
Yeah.
So it's not that old with 57 warnings. The company also paid the media and the government off to keep everything quiet. Next slide, please. Obviously, PRSA has their own code of ethics just for us. Everybody else has their different code of ethics. I could not find one for Trillium Farms. They just had a mission statement, a vision statement, and things that they're trying to do with the company. They did not have a code of ethics available for us to look at. But PRSA ethics is one of the main things that has honesty, and for that it says that we must hold the highest standards of accuracy and truth. And obviously, Trillium Farms is doing that since they're paying off the media and the government to be quiet. Johan Fox and Soo Yeon Kim are both ethics professionals that said that the codes of ethics needs to be in all businesses, which is obviously true. And to get more into this of what their wrongdoing was, according to ethics and PR, the environmental pollution, like Andrew said, is a really big problem. Animal waste is actually 500 times, not 5,000 times, that was my bad, more concentrated than human waste. So it's more toxic. Like there's more nitrogen, there's more pathogens, everything. So it actually can kill you if you have too much of it. And that did happen around the community in Ohio. And then we get down to slave labor and human trafficking. Article 4, 5, and 24 of the Human Rights Act state that there should be no slaves, obviously, no torture or cruelty, which happened, and that employees and other humans for work deserve rest days, just like holiday, vacations, at least a weekend, something, and not overworked. Along with this slave labor, the HR person, like Andrew said that they cooperated with officials and fixed it, but that didn't actually happen. And then the sexual harassment cases, of course, is unethical. And somebody else talked about that today. And then animal treatment, they had a lot of problems with that.
That was covered.
Yes. I'm going to go ahead and pass to Michaela so she can talk about it.
Okay, so some improvements. After the discovery of the Guatemalans that were working in these inhumane conditions, the Salvation Army of Central Ohio stepped in during this investigation, and they provided them rescue shelter, food, clothing, everything that they were being deprived of living in these shelters. Also, like we discussed, they changed their name 3 times to try to rid that bad image. And then they hired consultants to make recommendations for the bird's health.
I'm sorry, Michaela. We have to go because we have to get another group going.
In the end, we are the future. We're the future. We have to learn about this stuff because if no one else upholds the ethical values of PR, then who's going to? There you go. That's
Thank you.